Welcome, everybody, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. I'm Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. I'll be with you as your host for the next 2 hours, along with Dr. Carolyn Dean, and we shall be tripping the light fantastic in the natural health and alternative medicine world, talking about the things that you may require or enjoy engaging for your own personal edification and the strengthening of your body and the recovery of your health. And if you are a new listener, we welcome you. We also welcome our long-standing listeners that have been with us for many, many years, who check in every single Monday to see what Dr. Dean is up to, because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am a witness, a first-hand witness to what this gal is up to, and it's pretty big stuff. I mean, it's big stuff. And it's just so cool to see somebody who is a doctor and an MD, less concerned about her reputation and her bank account and all these other kinds of things, and more concerned about public health and the public awareness of the dangers of magnesium and mineral deficiency, especially in light of all the clinical studies and research that support that. You know, we talk about that almost on a weekly basis on our show. And not only is she concerned about it, but she's absolutely put herself smack dab in the middle of the most pivotal international connections there are to influence outcomes in the world of magnesium research and also in the public health world, as, again, not only just bringing education, but bringing solutions. What good does it do to tell somebody? How discouraging is it to tell somebody, oh, gosh, you've got this thing, but we don't know how to fix it? And Carolyn's not that kind of a person. Carolyn's like, oh, you got a thing? I got a solution, and she will not rest until it comes into its fruition, its full fruition. So we're just so delighted to have her. She absolutely continues consistency day in and day out to bring forth the best of who she is and the best of what she knows how to do, which is a healer, a teacher, and a doctor to the public forum, so that other people can be learning and being relieved of their health considerations and their health concerns. She can even really probably get rid of your fear of dying by just telling you you're going to be living forever, and if you hang out with her long enough, you're going to believe that. Welcome this evening, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Oh, wait, where are they? There they are.
Yes, I can't speak until I hear the children. And I may be amazing, but I don't know if I'm getting through on this phone, Ginny. Do I just yell into it?
You're yelling into it. You sound a little muffled, but you sound just fine. And, yes, you are getting through. I know you're in a unique situation where you're at, so, but it sounds good. You sound good.
Okay, now I can speak with the phone here, or I can speak with the phone here. Would you choose number 1 or number 2?
It doesn't make any difference. It didn't make any difference either way.
Okay, then let's take off into this atmospheric pressure of people wanting to know how to stay healthy and live forever, as Ginny says. They're just chomping at the bit, wanting this stuff that we have to address, we have to dole it out, and we try not to scare people before telling them how they're going to get healthy. I mean, there's just no point in that. But Ginny's blog today and my writing and finishing my sugar book, we are kind of scaring people, talking about our overuse of sugar. And what is interesting is Ginny did the blog. You'll find it at drcarolyndean.com. The weekly blog is the second from the top. The first from the top at drcarolyndeanlivetalk.com is going to be the the silver report. And it's about the type of pico silver that we have is described in this silver report. And it's very helpful to have that third-party information so that people can understand how excited we are about pico silver. So the second one down is going to be today's blog. It's a long one. I'm not going to read it all out. but the title is Food and Alcohol Cravings, What They May Mean. And seriously, what happens with especially sugar cravings and carbohydrate cravings, bread, sugar, fruit, alcohol, even dairy, beer, sugary wine, even tobacco, cigarettes are laced with sugar. That's what helps to make them addictive. So there's sugar everywhere, and the craving for sugar can be a sign of yeast overgrowth. So what we say to people is if you're craving sugar, you may have yeast overgrowth, and maybe you can just get a handle on that. Stay at that website, drcarolyndeanlive.com, and under books, you can download for free my Reset the Yeast Connection book, and that will explain a lot of what I'm going to briefly go over in this blog, and also we have a number of mailbag emails from people with good questions about this blog. So if your food cravings are driven by an overgrowth of yeast living in your intestines, those food cravings are not your own. It's the yeast, kind of like the Borg in Star Trek, just driving your appetite in order to feed themselves. But the problem is these yeast, which if they're just in their normal state, they're just little buds throughout the body that help break down, dead end products. They do serve a function in the body. I mean, it sounds a bit gross, but molten yeasts, think of them in the forest when a tree falls over, plants fall over, molten yeast grow on them and break them down. If we didn't have some mechanism to break down dead and dying material, then the planet would be just overloaded with dead stuff. And the same is happening in your body. Unfortunately, people who eat a lot of junk and crap, their body may have more yeast, and the yeast is feeding off the junk and crap. As the yeast go through their life cycle, they produce, or let's say eliminate 178, 180 different chemicals. It's like when the yeast go through their life cycle, they die off, these chemicals are released. And these chemicals, they can be absorbed through the intestines into your bloodstream, make you feel dizzy, fatigued, cross-react with your thyroid, throw your hormones off balance, and then, as we say, cause you to crave sugar and alcohol and put on weight. And if you're new to this information, we suggest you go to the book, Reset the Yeast Connection, download that. A lot of times in our protocols, people are on the minerals, on the sea salted water, on the realign, restructure, RNA reset drops, and they may start going through symptoms of yeast die-off because the body's getting strong enough to throw off the yeast all by itself with the immune system, all cranked up. So these organisms then can have the effects of, as I said, the foggy brain. You can get a coated tongue. You can get body rashes. You can get diarrhea. Women can get vaginitis. Men can get prostatitis or yeast discharge. So the yeast, as they're stimulated by sugar, means that this relationship is something that you really do have to get a handle on. It's not something that medicine treats. They don't really even recognize it. They don't want to think that what causes yeast overgrowth, which is too much sugar in the diet and taking antibiotics, they don't want to think that they're causing people side effects like yeast overgrowth. They just don't recognize those side effects. So we've got the yeast overgrowth. It can be a factor in leaky gut, and you have so many toxins that are released by these yeasts. There's ones like aldehyde, acid aldehyde, alcohol, zymosan, that's related to psoriasis. So there are all these toxins that really are not recognized medically, but you can measure them. People who are overloaded with the yeast, overloaded with a high intake of alcohol or sugar, they will be producing more alcohol in the body and acid aldehydes, which cause a lot of side effects. So anyway, I've got lists of the series of Candida symptoms. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it does include autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, and people are coming to us all the time with thyroid problems, and what if it's due to yeast? We really have to get to the bottom of our yeast symptoms. There's a yeast questionnaire in Reset the Yeast Connection, and I call it that, Reset the Yeast Connection, because the Yeast Connection was the big yeast book that Dr. William Crook put out, in the 86, I think it was. And before he died, I wrote a book with him, The Yeast Connection in Women's Health, but Random House wouldn't let us update it most recently, so it's quite out of date, unfortunately. The relief from yeast overgrowth, this is at the end of this very long blog, is dietary, and that's where doctors just won't get involved with patients about their diet, but it's avoiding sugar, gluten, and dairy. Now, in this list, it says avoiding fermented foods and alcohol, but I've revised that. I don't know where Ginny got this from, but I'll have to go back and change that, because a lot of people do very well on limited fermented foods at first when they have yeast, and then you can increase. I know when I started to eat sauerkraut, I ate too much, and it sort of gave me gas and bloating. But you just have to go slowly with the fermented foods. And that's your sauerkraut, your kefir, your kimchi, yogurt, pre- and probiotics. Prebiotics are mainly fibrous food. There's nothing really too special about prebiotics. They're mostly fibers. And, of course, we urge people to be on the complement formulas when they're doing the yeast detox. That's all outlined in the book. And rotate antifungals, especially the Pico Silver. There's also Podarco tea. There's Tahibo that you can use externally. You could use oregano oil, but it's all listed in the book. So that's kind of a real, fast run through. But I'll stop and ask Ginny what I've left out, what specifically people want to hear about.
The way you just moved your phone was probably the most clear you've been, and somebody typed in and said it's very muffled and hard to hear. And Mary, we know that because Carolyn's in a different location than she's usually in, and she's using a different kind of phone. So just so you know, it'll be just a little, but it's fine. Everything's A-okay. So other than that, everything's wonderful. And I think you said everything that needed to be said.
Okay, good. So I had the phone lying down. If I'm holding it up like this, does it sound better?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I only have one hand, so I'm not going to be doing any typing. What I'll do is look through the mailbag, and I think I've probably already answered some of the questions in going over the blog. So, question 1. For the past 2 years, I've been struggling with eating late at night, past 10 p.m. I get intense cravings and hunger, hence my waist has expanded. I can't lose the weight. I also recently was told I have bacterial vaginitis by my doctor, and I have eczema now for the past 4 years. Do you think yeast could be the underlying culprit? I've got Remite and Remag. What else should I add? So, yes, well, I mentioned that. It's about the diet. This is from Sarah. Avoiding the foods that the yeast like. But as you say, you have the cravings. The yeast are giving you that demand to feed them. What most people say is that usually it's under a week when you avoid sugar, gluten, and dairy that the cravings do disappear. So you're going to have to bite the bullet. And probably when you read the book, Reset the Yeast Connection, you'll understand intellectually what's going on. It will give you more resolve. The bacterial vaginitis, under that could be some yeast vaginitis. Eczema can be yeast detox. So it's important to do the whole protocol. So just go to Reset the Yeast Connection. If you have questions, you can come back to us at support@rnareset.com. Question 2, can you talk about parasites in this equation? And this protocol addresses that as well. So this is Lisa, and parasites are under there. The environment that helps yeast thrive can attract parasites. In the book, Reset the Yeast Connection, I do talk about using diatomaceous earth along with bentonite and psyllium seed to help sweep out the intestines. People have gotten back to us and told us that when they added the diatomaceous earth, that was very helpful for their known parasite problems. But we can't say we're treating parasites. We're just supporting the structure and function of the detoxification systems of the body. Question 3, my doctor has said I do have yeast overload and I have thrush. Now thrush, that's a white-coated tongue. So that means all the mucous membranes are probably affected in Billy here. Will the RNA help me as a start to get rid of the yeasts? I have bouts of diarrhea. I'm tired all the time and my thyroid seems out of whack. So yes, those are all yeast-related symptoms. I didn't go over the whole list that Ginny had in the blog. Maybe I'll just do a quick run-through. Skin and nail fungal infections such as athlete's foot, ringworm, toenail fungus, feeling tired and worn down, or suffering from chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. Digestive issues such as bloating, constipation, diarrhea. Autoimmune diseases such as Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, lupus, psoriasis, scleroderma, multiple sclerosis. Difficulty concentrating, poor memory, lack of focus, ADD, ADHD, and or brain fog. Skin issues such as eczema, psoriasis, hives, and rashes. Irritability, mood swings, anxiety, or depression. Vaginal infections, urinary tract infections, rectal itching, vaginal itching. And in men, prostatitis and penile itching and discharge. Severe seasonal allergies or itchy ears, strong sugar and refined carbohydrate cravings. So that's a lot of symptoms. I'm sure they cross-react with other things, but you'll find lists of those symptoms in the yeast book under the Candida questionnaire, and that's what you fill out to give yourself a number to what you're feeling, and then you fill that out on a every 3 or 4 week basis to see how you're improving. And question number 4, what is considered therapeutic dosing of your Pico Silver for extreme yeast overgrowth? Now, I have to caution, it's not just to take silver. There's the diet, there are the complement formulas, and rotating antifungals like Pico Silver. people can take anywhere from 1 to 5 teaspoons of the Pico Silver in their rotation of the antifungals. So you're not staying with the same antifungal all the time. You switch every week or so. So again, we're not medicinally treating yeast overgrowth. We're changing the diet, supporting the immune system so that the body can take care of the yeast. Someone says, when you talk about avoiding fermented foods, does that include sauerkraut? So I apologize about the fermented foods. Yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, miso, and tempeh are all fermented foods that can be used, but start slowly. Question 6, unless I misread it, your article about yeast, this is the blog I just wrote, says that holes in the small intestine are too small for the strands of yeast to enter the bloodstream. In the next paragraph, you describe what happens when the strands enter the bloodstream. No, we're describing what happens when the toxins from yeast enter the bloodstream. So they're small chemicals that can enter. They're not the fibrous yeast threads. You mentioned probiotics. I'd like to hear your opinion about prebiotics. So I mentioned that prebiotics, you'll look them up. They're mostly fiber foods. So if you're eating fiber, that can be just a helpful prebiotic for you. Question 7, I get brain fog when taking any yeast or bacteria-derived vitamin. Is this because of yeast overgrowth or just a sensitivity or allergy to molds and yeast? Now that's interesting because in the yeast book I do talk about people who get an immediate reaction to yeast products, or you walk into a moldy basement and get a reaction, your brain fog increases, your nose stuffs up, etc. That can be an allergy to molds and yeast, and hopefully in the book I talk about homeopathic remedies for molds and yeast that you can use along with the yeast detox. Carrie is also asking, are genetics playing a role, such as the gene expressions for MTHFR, MAO, DAO, etc.? I don't know that. I tend to downplay the whole polymorphism of genes and the different gene expressions, because I know they can be triggered, turned on or off by a lack of nutrients. So I don't know if the genes play a role in yeast overgrowth. I'm sure research will be done and maybe tell us. But at this point, what can you do about that anyway? I just say, even about the MTHFR, take our Realign, which has methylated Bs, and overcome that gene expression. Question 8, in addition to REMAG, I have had good results with Powdarco, supplements, and tea for yeast overgrowth. Yes, Powdarco, I talk about it in the yeast book. It is an antifungal. It grows on trees, as I understand it, in South America, in Brazil, and it won't allow mold or fungus to grow on it. So it is a known antifungal. Powdarco, it's also called Tahibo tea. Question 9, how do you know if your craving is yeast or emotionally related? And that's where you do the yeast questionnaire. If you score high, then it can be yeast related, but emotions are always in there as well. So I think in the yeast book I probably go into how a person really does need to de-stress, because the more stress you're under, you can increase your cortisol levels, which can increase your yeast. And Christine continues, If it is yeast, how do you know if the protocols are working? Yes, and there what you would do is every 3-4 weeks repeat the yeast questionnaire, total up your numbers and see if your numbers are shifting, because it's very difficult to get accurate blood testing for this condition. Question 10, someone, who is this? Katrina is saying, big thank you for your wisdom, knowledge, and service. Thank you for your service. I love saying that to the military and whoever else I think is serving me in the moment. Thank you for your service. My entire life, Katrina says, I've had a very lean body, been known as a health nut. Last couple of years, I've had terrible sugar, salt, and carb cravings, and I've put on an extra 20 pounds. So sugar, salt, the salt cravings tend to be adrenals, so I'd put that in right on top, adrenal stress. I'm 55 years old, feeling quite discouraged, exercising every day. That's what I felt with my extra 15 pounds until I started the Keto Diet. But then she talks about divorcing 5 years ago, 2 years ago, became an empty nester after 30 years of being a stay-at-home mom, which I cherish so much. So this is major stress she's going through. And sugar can be the sweetness in your life. So people can, the question before about the emotionality of eating, you can be eating sugar and getting diabetes. Total Biology talks about diabetics craving and missing the sweetness in their life. She says, I went back to school 18 months ago. There's another stress. That is when I began craving junk. Well, it's all over the place, and if she's at a school or university. I believe these life changes could play a role in eating to fill the gap, and perhaps hormones as well. So yes, adrenals and probably thyroid. When you're under stress, the thyroid tries to support the adrenals, so they go together. I most likely also have Candida. I take your magnesium and minerals every day. She says she's added L-glutamine. I think, look into L-glutamine. I'm not too keen on that. I have an article about L-glutamine and MSG. Just Google my name, MSG, glutamine. I'm pretty sure it was on Natural News. And she says she's taking chromium to help reduce her cravings. Well, there's chromium in Remite, but reducing cravings is going on the Yeast Detox, going on the diet, and the whole protocol if the questionnaire shows that yeast is a concern. So that's it for that part of the mailbag, Ginny. If you want to take over and go to the next level.
Okay, sounds wonderful. We're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean tonight at 602-666-6027. And we've got a comment here on the chat line, Carolyn, and then we'll take some phone calls. Just want to confirm that if you're on the line and you'd like to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5. *5 on your keypad will raise your hand in the studio and let me know that you have a question or comment, and then I'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. Again, that number 602-666-6027, and I see we've got a lot of new callers tonight, so I always think they want to talk to Carolyn, but you've got to hit *5 on the keypad to raise your hand. Otherwise, I don't know you want to talk with her. Question on the chat line. Must have been too toxic. I quit sugar several weeks ago except for a cup of strawberries. The rash has spread a lot this week and I'm very uncomfortable. Is there any way for me to reverse this reaction or lessen it?
What's she just eating, strawberries?
Well, it said I quit sugar several weeks ago except for a cup of strawberries. So she hasn't had any sugar, but if there was an exception, it was the strawberries, it sounds to me.
Well, I immediately think of strawberry allergies, but I don't know. Maybe not. If it's a yeast detox, it sounds like she just quit sugar, so I would look at the yeast detox protocol. We talk about using bentonite and psyllium to absorb the toxins in the intestines before they come rushing out in various places like the skin. You can do clay baths, clay and Epsom salts to help pull out toxins. I talk about that too in the yeast book. So that's what I would personally look at doing.
Okay, very good. Excellent, excellent. Let me know if that makes sense. Mary is typing in still about the sound issue, so I'll let Bob work that out. He's on the chat line. And let's go to, I lost my callers here, 602-666-6027. I had callers, and now they're all gone. Yeah, I know that was weird. Hit *5 on your keypad if you want to. There we go. Okay. I knew I had callers here. All right. Excellent. Let's go to area code 973-973. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hello. Did you say 973?
Yes, that's you, love.
Oh, okay. All right. My name is Mitzi, and I have been on your protocol, Dr. Dean, for 5 years, Remag, and Realign. I recently also introduced Restructure. I've increased my dose. Until last month, I was up to 3.5 teaspoons of Remag, 1 3/4 Remite, and the 2 Realign. I just had my blood work report received. As of last week, my RBC magnesium is 2.4. Last year it was 4.4. I must be doing something wrong, and I would love your thoughts on what I am doing wrong, if anything, or a mistake in the testing.
It sounds like a mistake in the testing, Mitzi. That doesn't sound right at all, unless they switched out your RBC test and did a serum magnesium test by mistake.
Oh no! Oh, the serum came back sky high, way up.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I have asymptomatic AFib and rheumatoid arthritis, and I wondered if there's anything I can do to remedy the situation. I'm trying to saturate so that I get rid of my AFib and help along the way with all my other little issues.
Right. Well, I think we've talked back and forth. We even met you once. I think you have improved with the AFib. Did it used to be more symptomatic?
No, I've never, ever had a symptom. I didn't know until it was diagnosed by my cardiologist.
Right. Well, I don't know in terms of medically telling you what to do. I don't know specifically what the next step would be unless, have you done the yeast protocol, Mitzi?
I have not. No, I have not. Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on doing that? Doing an experiment, avoiding sugar, gluten, and dairy, and see if that makes a difference. Right now I am gluten-free, but not the others. Those are hard to give up. Dairy and sugar, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the two I have to introduce. Yeah, and download the yeast book just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Go to the carolyndean.live.com, and that will give you the guidance. And, of course, you can phone up customer service. But that is the next step because you're obviously doing well. I know the blood tests, I know the serum can be high and the RBC can be low. So you're probably nicely in the middle. But we can't just leave it up to the minerals. If you've been eating sugar, that's a pro-inflammatory. You know that.
Yes, I have. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I know what the next step is. Now I just have to get my head to it and my body.
Yes. And just think about it, Missy, as being an experiment. Oh, I'm going to do an experiment, and it can last as long as I want to, or short a time as I want to, but you want some answers. That's all.
Yeah. So I guess there's no fruit either. Is that it?
Right, in the beginning, the first couple of weeks, no fruit, and then
no fruit.
And then you can go to berries and heavy whipping cream.
I know. Yes, my daughter's doing that on the keto diet. Right, Susan. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dean. Appreciate your help. Okay.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for keeping with us all these years, Mitzi. We appreciate it.
I'm 92.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. I have to mention that. I'm real proud. Okay, thanks again. Okay,
right. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Oh.
No, that's so sweet.
Very sweet.
Very, very sweet. 602-666-6027, and if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will let me know you've got a question or comment and raise your hand in the studio so I can bring you on with her. Okay, very good. Let's go to area code 937. 937, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could state your name and then let us know your question or comment.
Hello, my name is Cindy, and I'm calling to ask Dr. Dean if she could please give any information about this yeast connection with steroid medications. My doctor has had me on steroid therapy for about 4 months, and I was hoping to start tapering off, but he actually needs me to stay on for like 3 more months. But I have been having, some trouble and fatigue, brain fog, leg swelling, water retention, and that's why I was hoping to finish up and get off of that.
Right.
I did start doing the Remag, and I felt with the sea salt water, and that was really helpful. And so I just got the Remite, and I'm trying to get that started, but it has a fairly high amount of calcium in it, and I don't know if that's causing a problem, but
The Remite, no, the Remite only has, what is it, Ginny, 30 milligrams of calcium?
Yeah, only 30.
30. That's nothing. I mean, it's just in there for a bit of balance. Good grief, a cup of yogurt has 300 milligrams.
Yeah, I actually have been avoiding anything with calcium because I think the steroid has been pulling, forget what the term is, leaching. I don't know. I'm having trouble with anything with calcium. That's why I started taking, getting my magnesium up, because it seemed like anything with calcium in it was causing me more problems. So I thought it must be related to the steroid somehow. But,
wow. Okay, then I don't know what's going on. Why are you taking steroids?
I had eye surgery, and they had me start like a month before on the steroids. And I usually, I've had this surgery before, and they usually keep me on 2 or 3 months afterwards, and this time, they said I was a steroid responder the last time I had this done, and I had to quit doing it at 3 months, but they wanted me to continue. And this time I'm having other kind of issues with it, but they want me to try to stay on it if I can for 3 more months. But,
well, but it's very frustrating for you, I'm sure. I feel frustrated because you've proven before that you can only take it for 3 months. Why would they push it for 7 months? Is it anyway?
So I'm wondering if there's like a yeast thing going on here, because when you started talking earlier about the toxins from...
Oh, yeah, right. Well, there can be, so then, let's go there. What you do when you're on steroids or when you have to take antibiotics that can make your yeast overgrow, then you just are very careful about not feeding it. So you would go on a yeast-free diet, avoid the sugar, gluten, and dairy. You'd go on probiotics, the beneficial bacteria, soil-based. Instead of just taking 1 or 2 a day, you might take 3 a day. And you would look at the yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection, maybe get some of that Pardarco tea and drink it every day. You would eat garlic. You would do all those things just to kind of beat back the yeast. Because, you're right. It may not be all steroid side effects, and maybe a lot of steroid side effects are yeast overgrowth. So you could do that experiment.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned how these toxins can create havoc in the body, because that's the one thing I hadn't thought of. And I actually want to thank you so much, because I do have a copy of that book that you and Dr. Cook wrote. And it's really dilapidated, and it helped me. It's really saved my life when I had chronic fatigue syndrome, 20-some years ago. And so recently I had pulled it out again, and I'm so excited to hear that you have an update that we can check out on your website, because
please. And let us know how it goes, because, we never tell people to come off drugs, Cindy, so we don't want you to feel you have to do that. With the minerals, and, maybe you'll reconsider doing the Remite, because it has so little calcium in it.
I really want to get both of those going really well, because I know the next step is the Realign, and I'm excited to get that going, because I need the glutathione precursors and that sort of thing. So do you have any suggestions about getting the Remite started? Maybe what? I tried a half a teaspoon for starting out, and maybe I just started to...
Yeah, we start people on a 1/4 teaspoon, and if you've already got concerns, you could even do less. A 1/4 teaspoon is 30 drops. Some people will start on 10 drops. And just, you're every time you're putting the drops in, you're saying to your body, this is okay. You'll talk your body through it. Okay?
Now, do I put that in? Do you recommend putting it in the sea salt water with the magnesium also?
Yes, they all work together.
Separately?
No, you can put them all together. It's much easier.
Super. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you're doing to help me and all the people out there that need your expertise. God bless you.
Well, you're welcome. Bye. You're welcome, Cindy, and keep in touch, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
Excellent. You're listening to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. We're so happy to have you, our new listeners, and all of our listeners, and some of our listeners that have been with us for a long, long time, Carolyn, like our caller we're about ready to talk to now at area code 310-310. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Jeannie.
Oh, my goodness.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Ruth. Bob, Ruth's on.
I'm no longer 30 years old. I'm now 34.
34. Well, you heard Mitzi
I heard her. It was so nice to hear that. I love it.
Yeah.
I heard her. She's 92. Good.
Yeah. The two of you should get together, but I think Mitzi's way over on the East Coast, and you're way over on the West Coast.
In delightful New York, probably, but I'm in Santa Monica. Anyhow, I'm confused. I bought two. I don't know why I bought 2 of those bottles of your Pico Silver.
Oh, yeah.
I don't use it because I don't know how to use it. Now, when I'm sure I have some Candida, I believe in Candida. That sounds silly. My wonderful doctor, Raisin, said to me the other day, I don't believe in that as much as I used to. Well, I believe in Candida as much as I used to, and I think it's underneath what's causing me a little hearing loss. The first thing I thought of was Candida. And so usually it works together, if I think of it and I do a little, do my own kinesiology testing. Okay. I want to ask you some questions before you have to go to somebody else.
Okay.
So I couldn't find that Yeast Connection book. It's probably my age. Oh, what terrible thing happened to me recently? Not terrible.
Let me just interrupt, Ruth, because you have asked a couple questions. Let me answer so we don't get lost. The Pico Silver. Some people just take a teaspoon a day to start out. It does boost the immune system. We can't say it's an antibiotic or anything, but it was certainly used back in the day before the antibiotics, and people had good results with it, and it didn't have side effects. And the Pico Silver report is on the same page as the yeast book and the 11 or 12 other books I have. So that's at the carolyndeanlive.com website. And if you can't get there, just phone up customer service and someone will walk you through it.
Okay,
so the Pico Silver report, you'll really like that. It's very thorough. Personally, I would just start with a teaspoon a day. You can put it right in with your Remag and Remite, whatever you want to do. I know when I first started it, I beat off an airplane cold and then realized it did help my yeast. And if I take, I'll still eat sugar. I'm not a saint. And if I eat my sugar and I get a little boil in my nose, I found recently I can just touch a little Pico Silver, put some on my finger and touch that into my nose, and that little boil will dry up overnight.
Oh boy, that's great.
I've never had that happen. Those things can last for weeks. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, what else do you got for me?
Okay, I have a compounded medication my doctor ordered. And it says on the bottom, EDTA/silver, 0.5%. I think it's 25 ppm. There's a 1, maybe there's a 1 in front of that. And that, what that does, suppose these people have developed it so that it breaks up the biofilm, because of this ongoing sinus problem.
Well, I just looked it up. It may be similar to the Pico Silver. I don't know, but I know that people at the warehouse and relatives of people at the warehouse are sniffing the Pico Silver, using it in their neti pots and this and that. So silver can be useful for breaking up. Yeah.
For breaking up the biofilm?
Well, breaking up the bacteria. I personally think biofilm gets bound up because of too much calcium. And that's where I think magnesium is really important, because you know how magnesium will dissolve calcium. So I don't talk about using a lot of different tactics to get rid of biofilm. I just say do a yeast treatment, do your Pico Silver, and do your Remag.
I upped my Remag because my friend's dog jumped up on me, and I fell on my back. And fell
gosh.
And I hit everything, my head, my back, everything, because I landed hard.
Yeah.
And at first, it looked like I was okay, but gradually it's gotten to have a few little pains, a little less alacrity, little things.
Right. Darn. Right.
But
yes.
The only thing I could think of was increasing my minerals.
Yes.
I've been going to a chiropractor, and he told me some, but that I need to know what else to
have you got the Remag lotion, Ruth?
Yes. I just remembered I gave it to somebody as a gift. I have a little bit left. Yeah, well, it's a nice gift.
Well, put that on your aches and pains.
I have to get some more. Okay, I'll order some today. I became allergic to the other one. That is amazing. My skin broke out. The one, that I was using on my skin, the
Ancient Minerals.
Yes.
Right.
And I became allergic. I broke out. I can hardly hear you. But can you hear me?
Yeah, Carolyn, your phone's acting really strange. We're going to have to swap it out on the break, and you'll have to call in on your cell phone. Working. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, Ginny, send Ruth a bottle of Remag lotion, please, as a little gift for her.
Oh, sweet. Yes. I thought it was a nice gift to give my friend.
Yes, that's very sweet of you. Okay, my dear, we're going to move on. Do you have one last thing?
No, about, I do the psyllium almost every day, and it does a lot for me. And do you say rotate it with the diatomaceous earth, or forget the diatomaceous earth?
You can take them together.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
Good to hear you. My gosh. We should get you and Mitzi together.
Yes, well, tell her I'm thinking about her.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, great. Thanks, Ruth.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Carolyn. Your phone is very clear for me, which is odd because usually I've got the reception problems. But today it's very clear.
Wow. Okay.
You're not breaking up in my reality, which is odd.
In your world.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, what's next?
We've got 2 minutes to the top of the hour, and other than we've got ongoing concerns about being able to hear you properly, we've got a couple calls waiting, but we'll probably have to pick them up. Oh, no, well, right after the first of the hour. So, again, 602-666-6027. And if you want to talk to Carolyn, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. Raise your hand and let me know you have a question or comment, and I'll put you on the phone. And other than that, we're just skedaddling along.
Oh, great. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and I think it's great to hear from Ruth, and it just goes to show once again, the impact of what you're doing, that people constantly come back and they'll touch base, and that's what you say all the time, Carolyn, is you've written the protocols. They're all explained how to use the minerals and this and that, but then once they get going, call into the show and tweak their formulas, tweak what they're doing, and get a little update, and then just keep chugging along. And that's what callers like Ruth and Mitzi are doing, just checking in. Am I on the right track? What can I do to make this adjustment? And then they just keep going, and that's just so wonderful.
Right. I think we must have people that they're on some of the protocol. It's not quite perfect, and then they stop. And they don't realize that they could phone in or get in touch with customer service and just do a little tweaking. It's sad to think that, and we try as best we can to reach out to people and let them know that usually there's something that can be done. But anyway.
Right. Very good. All right, so we'll be back just after this short break at 6, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. We'll be right back.
Along with host Ginny Gunther after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
AchieveRadio.com. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The wellness scene with Dr. D.
Okay, here we go now, hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. So glad to have everybody with us, including our very own Dr. Dean back for hour 2. And here we are, Carolyn. Let's try your phone now.
Okay, so I'm on my cell phone and on speakerphone with my cell phone. Is that working?
It seems to be working to me. It sounds good to me. We'll have to check with Mary, our sound expert, who's been concerned she hasn't been able to hear you. So, Mary, let us know how the sound is for you. Okay, let's see where we are. 602-666-6027. Let's take our first caller of the second hour, Carolyn, if you're ready, okay?
Okay, but I'm all over the place here. I've got 2 phones on. I hope you can't hear the one in the background.
No, I already muted it, but you can just turn it off.
All righty. We're going to turn it off. Done. Okay. All set.
Okay, very good. Here we go. Let's go to area code 209. 209, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Oh,
hi,
okay,
go
good.
ahead.
Dr. Dean, my name is Linda, and I recently started taking your products, but I don't seem to get up to go past 1/4 of a teaspoon for the REMAG, and I know it has to do with yeast issues for me. So I wanted to ask you, would it be best to drop the dosage maybe to like 1/8 a teaspoon, and or keep the 1/4 teaspoon and then just implement the psyllium husk to help me intake more of the magnesium.
Okay, so are you putting a quarter teaspoon in a liter of sea salted water, Linda?
Yes.
I would add the psyllium. With the quarter teaspoon, without the psyllium, how many bowel movements are you having a day?
Interesting you ask that, because I guess my body has the bowel movements in the morning, and throughout the day, when I went up to 1/4 teaspoon, the next day I would have the excessive bowel movements, and then I'm done for the day. But during that time, it's when it gets really heavy, intense, I should say.
Right.
Yeah. And it just seems like that's my body. Now that I've trying to be in tune with it, but if I think back, all my life, it seems like my bowels are either constipated or they're loose.
Right. So that can be a bit of irritable bowel. I know some people.
Right.
Right. Can be alternating diarrhea.
Right.
I mean, I think med school did it to me, but I remember having irritable bowel, and what it would be is you'd get up in the morning, you'd have 2 or 3 bowel movements, think you were having diarrhea, and and then it'd be gone. So
right. And
so
funny that you say that, Dr. Dean, because again, researching, trying to figure out my body, that's crossed my mind a lot. And thank you for saying that. Then I guess that hit it in the nail with that part.
Right. So what works with that is looking at your stress, trying to relax. And, it's easy to say that, but just realizing that it's like your adrenaline is a little too much in the morning, or it can be when something comes up. I mean, someone makes a request of you, or the phone rings, or you have to rush somewhere. Sometimes it'll show up in a person's bowels, and those are the people that do seem to react a bit stronger to the REMAG because the bowels are already kind of sensitive. But you can get over that. You can get past that, and psyllium is a good thing to use. I'm kind of 50-50 about you going back to an 8.
Right.
I don't know exactly what would be perfect for you, but actually, Linda, go to the yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection at the carolyndeanlog.com. Download that and look what I write about under the heading Too Toxic to Detox. Now, I don't know if you're toxic or you're just.
I am, Dr. Dean. I am beyond.
Okay.
I mean, from just all the research, all that you've shared, I am just extremely. It's 47 years of toxicity, and just right now, I'm just trying to figure this out. Where do I begin? Yeah.
Okay. So under Too Toxic to Detox, I talk about just starting to use some bentonite along with psyllium. And I talk about the diatomaceous earth in there as well for the people who might have parasites that are part of the sensitivity. But I'm, maybe not go there, but just like you're doing, researching all this. And what those two intestinal kind of gentle brooms start to do is pull out some of the toxicity so that it doesn't overwhelm you.
When I start the psyllium husk, how long of a period of time do you suggest that I do that, and then test my body to see if it's adapted to the magnesium? What do you think? Or should I just take it prolongedly and don't even try to test that?
Well, why don't you, since you're well into this, you really want this to work, stay with a quarter teaspoon. Start the bentonite and psyllium, and you can just use a teaspoon of each. Go slow. You might do it twice a day. It's all written up there. Don't take it with food or supplements because it'll kind of pull them out. And see if it sort of relaxes your intestines. Now, eventually, the Remag is going to help balance your intestines so they aren't so spastic. What you've got is just intestines that just go into this squeezy spasm and then dump. And the Remag is what's going to help them.
Okay, because it seems like you're just reading my mind, because my next, I was going to mention to you that I'm currently taking a prebiotic, and what else am I taking? Something, I can't recall right now because I just started them too. And I was going to ask you if this was okay, or if your products would be enough for me to take, because, we're on a one income at my home, and I'm just trying to also, as much as I can, try not to spend a lot of time on my healing, which my husband's okay with it if it will get me better. So for the period of time then that I'm doing this, don't take the probiotics or the prebiotics or anything like that?
Well, they are on my list of what to do for yeast overgrowth. They're not harmful. They can help replace the good bacteria. There are specific ones that I think are better than others. Those are the soil-based probiotics. But what you should do, Linda, is just go through the book, read the book, and see if it makes sense. I also have another book. It's still just in print form. It is IBS for Dummies. So I've written about irritable bowel syndrome, and that's a good one. If you can check it out at your library. And if you are thinking about IBS, it's a good book because I bring in the yeast connection into IBS to make it more understandable.
Oh, doctor, do you think that while I'm doing this, should I just take one thing at a time? Because I also started keto and intermittent fasting. And then I'm thinking, okay, is this just going to be too much of a shock to my body? And like you said earlier, the too toxic to detox thing, is it just going to kill me, just not literally, of course, but just where my body's just like, am I, it's just too much.
Well, okay, here's the question. Are you overweight? That, for me,
I am. I'm 5'5", and currently I weigh 204 pounds, which I've managed to lose a few through keto. And I wanted to do intermittent.
Yeah, what I would say is do the keto, but watch out for the intermittent, because what may happen with a toxic person, if you don't eat for the 12, 14 hours, you can start really activating a lot of the detoxification pathways, and you start dumping, and you could feel yucky. And
funny you say that, because last week I did a 20 fast 4-hour eating period, and I on the chat room a few weeks ago I mentioned that when I would eat, I'd start heart palpitations, anxiety, and I've been suffering with that since that time. I've gotten back a panic attacks, which I thought I was managing. So it's been, and then, just jittery for a while, and just my heart accelerated, and I got high blood pressure 140/93 one night. So it's like, now that I love it. Thank you so much, because all this that you're saying is boom, boom. You're hitting all the areas that.
So, you don't want to do the intermittent fasting. Just do the keto. Because just cutting the sugar is going to be the main therapy for you. The toxicity and all those yeast toxins were causing all those symptoms. So don't go there.
Okay. How long do you think I should do the keto before I introduce intermittent? Because as you can tell, I'm a go-getter, and it's like, okay, let me do that too.
No, I mean, you'll do the yeast questionnaire and do the numbers. And as your numbers drop, then you'll know that you're getting rid of your yeast, and you won't be so susceptible to the yeast die-off if you do intermittent fasting. So you'll be able to tell from your numbers.
Awesome. This was very helpful. Thank you, Dr. Dean.
Oh, you're welcome. The bill is in the mail, Linda.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. I will certainly, I've written down notes, and thank God for the re-recording, because I'll have to go back and just make sure I don't miss anything. But I'm excited. So so with your products, I'm doing Remag, and I'm doing the Remite. Oh, my goodness, one quick question about Remite. And I talked to your wonderful gentleman in the evenings. He is awesome, by the way. I forgot, Gary, Doug. I think is his name.
No,
Doug. Doug. I don't know, but he's just he's awesome. He's a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. So during this past week when I was sharing with you all those symptoms, I thought, okay, electrolyte deficiency, this is what's causing this too. And I thought the Remite's going to help me with electrolytes. So I'm at 1/4 with that. And he suggested that I up it 1/4, which I did. And so my question for you is, how long before I can up does the Remag cause those effects that I might just want to take it easy to, or can I kick it up? Because I feel like my body needs electrolytes.
Yeah, the Remite doesn't seem to have that detox effect that Remag does. So every 3 or 4 days, you can increase your Remite by 1/4.
Okay.
So you get to 1.5 teaspoons of Remite.
Okay. Beautiful. Because I was telling him, too, that I can't wait to drink my water, my sea salt water, and then I add lemon to it. And it's just like my body's like, give me that. And you earlier said something about the salt, the yeast overgrowth, right? Those of us that have that, we crave salt. Is that what you said?
People with,
I think you said
the word. People with weakened adrenals or
yes, adrenals. That's it.
Yeah, adrenal fatigue.
Yes,
adrenal fatigue.
Yes. Which I have that too, and I've suffered with that for years, and I didn't know it was that.
Right. I know.
Yes, and when you said that, I was like, that's me. That's why I crave the salt. So when my adrenals also balance out, I'll probably not want so much salt.
Well, I mean, you'll still drink it, but
sure, yeah,
like a drug. It won't be like a drug, Linda. You'll
right, and that's what I'm feeling right now. I'm like, hoo-hoo, I can drink these. Thanks a million.
You're totally hyper. Oh my goodness! Take her off the sea salt, husband.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. God bless you for all you do. This is just wonderful. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on achieveradio.com. 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean. And we will put you on the line with her. You've just got to hit *5 on your keypad to let us know you have a question or comment. And we will let you get plugged in to the universal mind of Dr. Dean and all of her incredible wisdom, and it's just so perfect. As Linda was saying, just get plugged in, and it's like I feel like Dr. Dean has ESP. She's answering every single one of my questions, and that's what she's here to do and what she wants to be able to do for you. All right, let's see where we're at, Carolyn. Not a lot of activity on the chat line tonight, so we don't have a lot of questions coming in. Everything seems to be pretty good here on this end. What would you like to talk about?
I'll go to the mailbag then.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, now Paul and Connie have been in touch with Julie a lot. They write emails to her. Connie had a stroke, and she was struggling with her blood pressure. Her blood pressure was starting to go too low. She's on a blood pressure drug and a Remag. And so they realized that maybe she didn't need the blood pressure drug as much anymore. It was being taken care of by the Remag. So with great trepidation, they went to their cardiologist the other day, and we got the report back that the cardiologist did, in capitals, did agree with us that it's okay to continue the REMAG and decrease the blood pressure meds, just monitoring closely and work to create a better balance for Connie where she can move forward with more energy and stamina. Cardiologists stopped short of agreeing that possibly there was an interaction between the REMAG and the calcium channel blocker. But he did understand that magnesium does lower the blood pressure and agreed that if we were seeing multiple benefits with the REMAG, he was fine with continuing it. So what he then, Paul then quoted the doctor, and the doctor said that the goal is to keep Connie's blood pressure and heart rate in a good place to lessen the risk for another stroke, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from the meds. And that's what they were wondering. I mean, if the REMAG is causing the shift in the blood pressure and the pulse, should maybe be able to get off the meds, because the balance that they were trying to create was just to lower the blood pressure and the pulse. It may sound like I'm belaboring this point, Ginny, but do you get what I mean here? I mean, we've got to get these cardiologists to realize that our people, when their blood pressure is actually getting a bit too low, they're on the REMAG and a blood pressure drug, then maybe they don't need the blood pressure drug. And the bottom line is not to necessarily keep on the meds. The bottom line is to lower the blood pressure and the heart rate. So there.
Yeah, I agree completely. And we get that response in customer service a lot where people are like, I've been taking the REMAG and now my blood pressure's too low. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, stop taking the drug because you're showing that the magnesium does work and that is the natural stat. And I agree completely.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's almost like doctors think, well, you're on this drug for life, and, okay, you're all better, but you're still on this drug for life. And you've got to remind them that that's not necessarily so. Okay, here's a testimonial. I had inner thigh cramping in January. I started listening to Dr. Dean's radio discussions and began to make changes for myself. I stopped all the extra supplements I was taking for sundry reasons. Then, most beneficial of all, I added REMAG and REMITE to my 84 ounces of water a day, along with the Himalayan sea salt or Himalayan salt. I'm up to 3 3/4 REMAG, 1.5 teaspoons REMITE. Going for saturation, taking Restructure, on keto, taking a couple of other things, just ordered RNA drops, using REMAG lotion on my legs. All this to say things have improved so much in caps. Not one cramp since the last one I told you about in January. The lotion helps if I feel creepy crawly in my lower legs at night, and it works fast. But also that's another sign to me that I need more REMAG and REMITE, onward and upward to saturation. That's really cool. This inner thigh cramping, those are just horrible because that's a very strong muscle. So that meant to me that she was probably very magnesium deficient. A testimonial from Patricia. Friday will be the end of my 4th week on the Total Body Reset protocol. Although I'm fatigued today, yesterday I had a great day. I had forgotten what it was like to feel good. It was more than just that, though. I was aware of my entire body being rejuvenated. I wasn't struggling to breathe when I did my treadmill. My thinking was not foggy, and the night before I got 6 hours of straight sleep. I haven't slept more than 2.5 hours straight for a few years now. Also no AFib for 8 days. I have been a very sick little puppy for so long. Oh, gosh, yes. I don't know if I said this last year, but last week, She says, my husband a year ago was thinking about making arrangements for my burial plot. I now have hope I will be around a few more years. Thank you for your product, but more importantly for caring. I am elderly and struggle to buy my medications and supplements, so there's no way I could possibly pay for the consultations you provide freely. Your product is wonderful, and what can I say? God is good. So that's very sweet. Shall I continue, Ginny?
Let's go take a couple phone calls. And that is very sweet, though. Gosh, I mean, just think about the impact of that on one person's life. I mean, even if you only were to help one person, and, of course, you're helping tens of thousands of people every month, but just to think about what people are really communicating when they are saying they've got one foot in the grave, and the next thing you know, they've got a total renewed life. I mean, that's just incredible, and that doesn't usually happen when you go to the doctor. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to area code 612. 612, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
This is Kim. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Kim.
Okay. I had a question. I've been on Remag. I started it when I was pregnant, and I now have a 4-month-old, which I'm breastfeeding, and she is covered in eczema.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if this could be contributing. Any suggestions? I'm at 2 teaspoons of Remag and 1 teaspoon of Remite. Should I back off a little?
No, it's not that. It's not that Remag causes yeast, but you may have yeast overgrowth that the baby is getting from you with the breastfeeding. So
I'm 100% sure I have yeast overgrowth. I mean, it was an emergency C-section, so I had a antibiotic, and I'm sure I've been dealing with yeast. What do you suggest?
Right. Well, then it's going to the book I mentioned. I don't know if you listened earlier. It's Reset the Yeast Connection, and it's a free download at carolyndeanlive.com. And it has a yeast questionnaire so you can make sure of your numbers and then follow them. Tells you what diet to follow and how to detox gently. You can detox when you're breastfeeding if you use the psyllium and bentonite first for a bit before you do anything else. I mean, basically you do a diet, psyllium and bentonite when you're breastfeeding.
Okay. I did read it, and I did the questionnaire. My issue is I tried to cut out the sugar and the carbs like a couple months ago, and I just feel like my milk dipped quite a bit. Should I just take it a little bit slower?
Right. Well, what you'd have to do is do more a keto diet instead of, a yeast diet can be a keto diet, but you'd want to be adding, if you can, heavy whipping cream and avocados and olives and non-lactose cheeses so that you can be sure to get enough calories.
Okay.
And so for the keto diet, that reset your ideal weight.
Carolyn, we're losing you. You must be moving your phone. It's hard to hear.
No, be really still, but who knows what aliens are flying about. So the keto diet, but not for weight loss, Kim, more to get more calories. And the keto diet is in a book called Reset Your Ideal Weight.
Okay.
All righty.
All right.
So, yeah, go there. I mean, I went through a lot of this in my practice where babies could have yeast from birth, and they were treated as if they had bacteria and given more antibiotics. It just got worse and worse and worse. So
I've always suspected it to be yeast. Like, it smells like yeast to me. But the doctor, it's eczema or they want to do this or that. But I'm pretty sure it's yeast.
Right. And you know what I would do, too, is personally, if it were me and my baby, I'd get the Pico Silver, put it in a spray, and spray the skin and see what that does.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have to keep in touch with us, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Let's go to area code 916. 916, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Dean and Ginny. This is Jean, and I just wanted to give a great testimonial. My aunt had a right aorta problem that was causing an esophagus issue, and she was going to have surgery. So I decided I was taking care of her for a while, so I decided to sneak some magnesium in her salad dressing, and she's fine now after 6 weeks. After 6 weeks.
Oh, my gosh. Say that again. You broke up for me, Jean. Say that again.
That my aunt had a right aorta issue that was involving her esophagus, and she couldn't keep her food down.
Wow.
And she was supposed to have a surgery. And a little over 6 weeks, I was just putting a half a teaspoon in with her salad dressing. And the problem seemed to stop, and she had it tested, and everything normalized.
Wow. So was she having esophageal spasms, do you think?
Well, not every time, but she'd want to throw up, or she would throw up when she ate, right, the first bite. And I don't remember the exact diagnosis name, but it was something to do with her right aorta that was involving getting in the way of the esophagus or something like that.
Right. Yeah, maybe pressing on the esophagus, but if it...
That's what it was doing. It was pressing on it like a balloon. Now I'm as soon as you said that, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever heard that before?
No. No, but the aorta can harden a bit, get kind of calcified, and put pressure on nerves. So I guess it was putting pressure on the esophagus. So magnesium is supposed to dissolve calcium, so maybe that's what happened. But also, if there's some pressure, it could irritate the esophagus and put it into spasms. And certainly magnesium will relax muscle spasms. So either way, I mean, we'll take credit for it, Jean.
Yeah, I'm going to give you credit because there was nothing different that happened. Nothing. Right. Everything is the same. And she's healthy. So that's it. I did my little sneaky thing because I told her. She goes, no. I go, I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. I'm going to help
that's
you.
all I want to do. I just wanted to share that.
Okay.
Well, Jean, if you could write that up, it would really make my Facebook page look good.
Okay.
Just a short statement.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Jean.
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, and Jean, you can send that to support, SUPPORT, at RNAreset.com, and we'll make sure that Bob receives it. Let's go to area code 917. 917, you're on the line with Dr. Dean this evening. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes, good evening. Hi, this is David from New York.
Hi, David. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome. I'm happy to hear you again. Dr. Dean, so you say, if I understand correctly, if I solve the Candida problem, I also solve my craving of sugar? The sugar?
Yes, that can be true because apparently it's the yeast that make you crave the sugar.
This is the second time ever since I started to my awareness of eating well and taking supplements in the last 20 years or so that I'm having this problem of craving cake and sweet and all that garbage.
Right.
And pretty depressing situation. But I'll load up your book and hopefully that's going to work.
Very good. Yes, it was surprising that to me that Ginny wanted to talk about yeast tonight, but it is very important, and
absolutely.
You don't read about it enough. There's not enough people talking about it. They've moved on to other things that are bothering them, but I'm always going to be saying that the underlying triggers for most chronic diseases are mineral deficiency, especially magnesium, and yeast overgrowth.
But from the yeast overgrowth, when you start consuming a lot of white food, so you're constantly on high sugar, high glucose, and that's a very good ground for to get all the diabetic and heart disease and cancer and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly, and yet I'm still hearing that the sugar companies won't admit that the sugar is causing problems. So it makes it very difficult for people to get educated. There's not enough people talking about it.
Dr. Dean, I don't have a problem with blood pressure or diabetic or overall I'm in good health. Ever since I started, especially ever since I started the REMAG, my sugar level is in the 70s, which is great. Yes. But I will ask you a question about losing weight. I don't have a problem of weight, but about losing weight. Don't you think if you keep your glucose level down, you lose weight?
You do, because when your glucose level is down, you do not stimulate your insulin. And it's insulin, either you take it in a needle or insulin that you make yourself that causes weight. So that's the best thing to do. And that's why the ketogenic diet works, because you're not eating sugar to stimulate the insulin. It's quite profound. It's very simple, but none of the diabetic doctors talk about that. It's really bad medicine that they don't realize that.
Yeah, I'm trying to educate my doctor. It goes slow. Yeah, it goes slow. Yeah, what?
Give him my book, David. Give him my book and my blessing. Absolutely. But, they're very proud people. It's hard to admit that you spend, 8 or 10 years studying, and then you realize that it's not complete. So they become a drug agent. That's what they become. Yeah. Okay, David, good. I'm going to move on now, if you don't mind. Okay?
No problem. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thanks for calling. Nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. I think we're all caught up with our callers. 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you have a question now. You'd want to hit *5 on your keypad, and I'll put you on the line with Dr. Dean. Otherwise, we will press on with our important schedule, Carolyn, and agenda. Let's see. I think everybody's got caught up here on the chat line. Marv says hello. Don't know about everybody else, but I'm in a little corner in Canada listening to our fabulous Dr. Dean and Ginny. Marv has typed in and asked, is spraying Remag on the body as good as taking it orally?
You can answer that, Ginny.
Well, I mean, we have pretty good evidence that it is the same, very similar, because Remag does penetrate the layer of the dermis, the lipid layer, and is very effective for a lot of people. So we say yes. Just notice that the dosing is not the same, because Remag, 1 teaspoon of Remag lotion is made with 200 milligrams of Remag, and a teaspoon of Remag liquid is 300. So you've got to watch that. But other than that, everybody seems to love it. I love it personally. I think it's fantastic, and it works very, very well. How did I do okay with that, Carolyn?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
I get to download some of my blogs so I can run through those if we have time for that.
Okay, well, we've got a couple phone calls. I think Jean's got a question, and we've got a call coming in from New Jersey. So let's do those real quick. Area code 732, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. Did I do okay with that, Carolyn?
Hello?
Oh, dear.
Very good. Hello?
You've got to turn down, we can hear you, but you've got to turn down the radio in the background.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll do that. I can't. I'm trying to do that, but I lost it for some reason. Let me just turn it off completely. Hi, it's Diana Orlando. Do you hear me now?
Hi, Diana.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I have a question. I've been taking Remag and Remite now. I think it's about 4 months now, and I'm due for blood work next month in March because I have severe osteoporosis, and so I am also on Forteo, but I want to get off the Forteo. So I wanted to ask. I was told, or I read somewhere, I think on your site, that I should actually eliminate Remag and Remite a couple of days before the blood test because it can actually skew the results. Is that something that I should do? What would you recommend?
Well, are you having a red blood cell magnesium test, Diana?
Well, I usually have, I had blood work done 9 months ago, and now I'm going to have it done again because I'm actually taking the Remag, the Remite, and I'm also taking CBD RSO oil twice a day.
But are you having a magnesium blood test? Because you only need to stop the magnesium 12 hours before a magnesium blood test. If you're having any other blood tests, you don't have to stop anything.
Okay, so I know they're going to do the magnesium blood test again. Yes, they will be doing it.
Okay. So just 12 hours is enough.
Okay, so 12 hours before I should not take magnesium then.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'll do that. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your wisdom. I love actually listening to your program every week, and I'm actually enjoying your supplements as well. Thank you so very much for your all that you do for us.
Oh, thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You have modern wisdom, Carolyn. You have modern wisdom.
Yeah. I have all wisdom. I have past, present, and future wisdom.
Very good. All right. Excellent. Jean, are you there? Hello?
Hey, you guys.
Okay,
it's great. Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, Jean, I can hear you. I know it's you, Jean. I can hear you. Talk to me. Talk to me, Jean.
Carolyn, I went to order the magnetic clay, LL's magnetic clay for the detox bath.
Yeah.
This afternoon. And I looked on Amazon, and it was listed for $60. And then I went to the site, to the LL's magnetic clay site, and it wasn't there. And the site changed its name to Enviromedica.
It did, yeah.
And there is a magnetic clay bath coming soon, it says, for $39.
Wow.
So I called in just to find out, what the change is. And she said that they added Himalayan salt, and it's now sodium bentonite. Is that the same? There's 2 additional ingredients added to the same clay that the old one was. So I thought, all right, it's Monday night. I'm going to call in and ask Carolyn because I also want a probiotic recommendation again. So I had 2 questions for you. Well, I'm listening to the show, and I go to Amazon and I look at the magnetic clay, the old one again, and the price has gone up to $749.28 for the old formula.
That's right. Oh, that's so funny.
So I'm wondering if this is new information to you, or if you know anything about the new one that they're coming out with, or what are you going to use?
Well, I still have a big tub of it, so I'm okay.
I've had it for years, and it ran out.
Right.
And I could have bought it for $60 3 hours ago.
Like, no. There are other clays. Just look around. I mean, they've obviously just switched out their recipe, but there are lots of clays.
Okay.
So, don't worry about it. Yeah.
All right. I always go for your product recommendations because I know you do research and you just know better. So I wanted to.
The probiotic, we're still saying Dr. Axe's, AXE. His soil-based probiotic still looks good until we get ours out there.
No. Zach Bush, the Restore.
Oh,
what?
We've got, okay, yes.
Yeah, Dr. Zach Bush and Restore, not Dr. Axe, AXE. We're saying Dr. Bush, Restore for Life is the URL.
Okay, I've had that. Okay, I've taken that for the last month. And that's, you're recommending that, the Restore, over Axe's soil-based products at this point. Is that what I heard?
Yes. That's what you heard.
Okay, then I will reorder that and wait ever so patiently.
Very good. Excellent.
Thank you guys very much. That's all I have.
Hey, Jean, are you? There's another Jean on SIP at the top of the list. Are you that Jean? Did you call in twice?
No, I only called in once. I heard another Jean while I was waiting on the line. And and I also heard a 612 area code. So they're all
friends. Yeah, they're
kind of interesting. I forgot that I was supposed to press *5, and I don't have a *5 on SIP. But then
maybe that's what this person is telling Ginny to pick it up. You see that, Ginny, right? The SIP at the top.
That's Jean. We're talking to her right now, Bob. Got it. Done.
What? But it says South Dakota, which is funny. That's you. Okay.
Yeah. Bob, just don't get so involved. Phone Jean and talk to her on the side.
No, I was just wondering. This person pointed out. Okay, Jean, did you type in and say you're on SIP? Did you do that typing, Jean?
Yes, I said.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
All right.
I did.
Yeah, refresh your Turbo Bridge and you'll see it all.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to hear your voice too, Bob. It's always nice to hear.
Well, I know, Jean. I know what deep feelings you have for me.
It's so good to hear Ginny and Carolyn. I haven't called in years. And
no, you haven't. You haven't. It's great.
And okay. So, all right. Let me give a little testimonial, unless you've got people to move on to.
Because we do.
You have people to move on to.
We can give your testimonial, and we shall move on. So go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make it quick. I've been on all of the products for 6 years. Every year has uncovered another layer of crap over my 58 years of life. And I am younger every day. I am prettier every day. I am feeling better every day. And And it's not a religion. I was listening to last week's show. I still have stuff. And I'm more and more amazed by how the stuff is coming off in layers. And so every year is better. I am ridding myself of a very, very long-term depression from using Dr. Dean's products. And I'll say more when I have more words for it, but it's incredible. I'm amazed by how the products work, but you have to be patient and
you have to call into my show, Ginny, on Saturday.
And it does make a very big difference to participate.
My show is the extra thing for the insiders who find out about it.
It handles those of us with a very big labyrinth in our mind. Definitely.
Yeah, I handle people who are very depressed.
and he makes them giggle every week until they can giggle without Bob.
Yes.
So there. Yes.
Thank you.
So we can move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean. Here, wait a minute.
Yay!
Thanks, Jean. Thanks for calling in. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, Carolyn, a couple quick questions, and I think we have another phone call. One question is from our dear Nancy, who types in, is anyone in the know about Doug Kaufman? His site is Know the Cause. He's a wealth of knowledge about fungus and how it can and does impact our bodies everywhere and the challenges it can bring. It is amazing what he has to say about this. He's been studying this in great depth for decades, another Dr. Dean type of researcher in his field of choice based on his own experience where he came back from service duty as a young man. I like him for what he knows, which is a lot. Have you heard of him, Carolyn? Doug Kaufman, Know the Cause.
I've been on his TV show. Of course I know Doug. Of course.
You've been on his TV show, you say?
Yeah, in Texas, yeah.
And there you have it. Once again, it's absolutely impossible to beat Carolyn Dean in any area of knowledge or experienced people. Just stand back.
That's right.
Stand back.
Yes, of course she knows him.
We're just teasing you, Nancy, but that's a wonderful contribution. If you don't, what would you say is important about his work, Carolyn?
Well, he's telling people about yeast overgrowth. I don't know if he has his recipes here. I don't know if he has a treatment protocol. Yeah, he's doing his part. Roby and I, when I was hanging out with Roby in Texas, we went on his show together. And I don't know, check him out. Just keep layering your knowledge about yeast so that the next time you go to dinner and they ask you if you want to have that dessert, you say no. That's all we're telling you about yeast is stop feeding it.
Excellent. Yes, yeah, stop. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Okay. Let's say Morris is typing in and says, I've read that clay in general contains toxins. Are you aware of that, and what do you recommend?
Of course. Everything contains toxins, Mars. We know that. And what people like the Environmentica do is they make sure it's, I don't know what, if they put it through treatment or like when the soil-based probiotics that we're going to be using, they're tested for contaminants, they get a certificate of analysis. So there's aluminum in clay, for example, but the aluminum is bound up and it's not absorbed. There's all kinds of information and misinformation. You stay with a reputable company. And Environmentica, they're still a reputable company, and they make sure they don't have any products that have toxicity. So there.
Right. So the answer is get a product from a reputable company that has a COA, certificate of analysis on it and look for the areas of concern that you have, like heavy metal content, and what you'll find is it's less than such and such parts per billion, and then you'll see that it's perfectly safe and lovely, and you may proceed. And if you don't get that to your satisfaction, then don't use that brand. Tanya types in, what dosage of magnesium do you recommend for dystonia due to Parkinson's disease?
Well, we get asked about dosage every week, every day, every person, and we always say everybody starts off the same at a quarter teaspoon. Every 2-3 days, even 3 or 4 days, increases by another quarter teaspoon up to saturation. I didn't reach my saturation until I was on 4 teaspoons for about a year and a half. Some people, maybe it's 2 or 3 teaspoons. Everybody is so different because everybody has a different way of burning off their magnesium. So you go to the point of your symptoms are gone, and then even with the Remag, when you get saturated, you will get some of the laxative effect. And this is not the people who get it on a quarter teaspoon. Those are the IBS, yeast overgrowth, severely toxic people. So it's a bit of a learning curve, and that's why we have incredible customer service, so we can talk people through that. So to answer your question, the person starts taking a quarter teaspoon in the liter of sea salted water, sip through the day, and then increases slowly until they're around the 3, maybe even 4 teaspoon mark. But we're also going to say do the sea salted water, do the Remite for the other minerals, look at your Realign for methylated and food-based Bs, take a food-based vitamin C. So those are some of the basic nutrients. We don't recommend that many more, but it's not just about treating a magnesium deficiency condition with just magnesium, because there's so many other things involved. Phew.
Okay. We've got 3 minutes with 3 questions. If we don't get to your question or we miss your phone call, you can check with us next week or email support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com, and we'll get back to you. Just say in the subject line, missed this opportunity on the radio show, have a question for you. From Betty in New Mexico. Thank you for all the help. I've been taking Remag and Remite since mid-October and Realign since mid-November. I'm doing so much better. I don't have the chest pain. I've been able to play basketball. I'm 78. My PC doctor is happy, but my heart rate is still in the 40s, and my adrenal fatigue is not good. I have an irregular heart rate and PVCs, but they're getting better. I don't want to do a keto diet unless it's plant-based. Any good ideas? ?
Well, the keto diet is for overweight. A heart rate of 40, it's 35, 40. Are they thinking of a pacemaker? I wouldn't want to push too much more Remag with a low pulse rate. I don't know anything more about your situation. I mean, you can email us and ask directly, but a low pulse rate like that, you'd have to ask your doctors, are you a candidate for a pacemaker? And I'm just jumping in on that, and I'm sorry we only have a minute left.
Okay. So, Betty, again, finish your question at support@rnareset.com if you want some more support, or call in at next week's show. It's always good to connect with Carolyn. Okay, so Nancy, Linda's typing in, thanks for the Remag and Remite. I've been taking both with gray sea salt and my homemade mineral water for about 4 weeks. Doug, the gentleman who takes my phone order, informed me that the hoarseness from my 15-day NG tube during hospital stay may possibly clear up because of inflammation. I purchased the products because of hydrochlorothiazide was depleting me of my minerals.
Hydrochlorothiazide, it's a diuretic.
Okay, was depleting me my minerals. But my voice is clear now. Can you hear me now? So that's cute. So I think that's a form of a testimonial, Linda. Thank you. She says, I've never taken any of the products before. A person in my gym introduced me to the program. I was sold on the testimonials. I'm a true skeptic because so many products are based on pure lies. But Dr. Dean has my trust. Yay! She's the best person to trust, people. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Yes, I've trusted Carolyn for 52 years. She betrayed it a couple of times, but it was puny.
Puny betrayals.
Yeah.
Betrayals. All right. Well, listen, everybody, it was a great show. Carolyn will be back in her regular sound booth next week, and all will be well. Mary, don't panic. All right? We love everybody. Thank you, Carolyn. Anything else you want to say?
No, it's a great show. I felt a little stultified. I went into my comedian routines because I'm not in my regular space. I apologize.
That's right. That's right. Congratulations.
You,
good show. Very good show. Better than last week.
Everybody.
Great.
You've been listening to
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Nancy.
Here on AchieveRadio.com. Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com. Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.